Festive season has arrived, and we know that with the socialising and fun that brings, unfortunate events can also occur. It's obviously the case that employers will want to avoid employees being subjected to sexual misconduct at work-related events, and this type of behaviour can also leave businesses exposed to risk. So in this video, the first of 3 short videos on this topic, we'll be considering what those risks are.
So the key point that businesses, and I think in fact everyone, needs to appreciate is that behaviour which can appear quite ordinary may still be problematic. There is a range of conduct from over-friendly, failure to observe personal space, through ill-judged but genuine efforts at showing romantic interest, before you get to the thing that we all kind of obviously recognise as a problem. The bar is set quite low for what amounts to sexual misconduct in terms of creating both civil liability, and by that I mean whether it's employment, personal injury damages that your organisation may be liable for, and of course criminal liability. For instance, repeated requests for a dance or to have a drink may be well-intentioned but can amount to harassment. Similarly, a sexual assault is simply an intentional touch where, either because of the circumstances or the individual's purpose in respect of the touching, it becomes sexual. So you can see that this test can be met quite easily in an informal work social setting where alcohol is free-flowing and boundaries can become blurred. In the cases that we see arising from this time of the year, it's often the case that no harm is actually intended. That, of course, is of little comfort to the person on the receiving end and does not mitigate consequences for you as an employer. That's the key risk on the criminal side.
Damage to reputation is a common and increasingly complicated risk. Due to social media, it's almost inevitable that there will be some active or live commentary of any perceived misbehaviour at social events. This is made worse by the fact that if the commentary is posted promptly, the commentator's judgment may be clouded, as they're at the event too, and results in them making comments online which they may not have ordinarily have published. The sharing of videos and images of people on social media from which the employer may be identified could result in embarrassment and reputational damage for both the employer and the employee. In these situations, timing is crucial.
It's important to remember that if the business is a regulated entity, so that might be regulated by the ICAEW, the Financial Conduct Authority, or the Solicitors Regulation Authority, for example, there is the risk of regulatory consequences if people engage in inappropriate behaviour or the business is seen to have been lacking in the steps it's taken to prevent or address such behaviour. We know that the regulators are increasingly focusing on workplace culture and the handling of misconduct, so the importance of this risk cannot be overstated. There are also a number of risks from an employment law perspective. Employers can be found liable for the inappropriate behaviour of their employees. Anything done by employees in the course of their employment is treated as having also been done by the employer for the purposes of the Equality Act 2010. Work social events like Christmas parties are an extension of the workplace for these purposes. This means employers may find themselves liable, for example, for the actions of an employee who sexually harasses another member of staff or engages in other behaviour that may amount to prohibited conduct under the Equality Act 2010. Since October 2024, employers have had a positive, proactive duty to take reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. This includes anticipating in advance scenarios in which sexual harassment can occur and taking steps to prevent it. A workplace Christmas or other festive party is a typical example of such a scenario. So if the risk of sexual harassment isn't considered and measures put in place to prevent it, the employer is likely to be in breach of that duty. So those are some of the key risks businesses face in relation to sexual misconduct during the festive season. In other videos, we will look at how those can be addressed.